And tonight the Royals wrapping up a brief homestand and a 3-game series with the Houston Astros. Hi everyone, welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Paul Splittorff. I'm Ryan Lefevre, and it's a hot one in Kansas City. Summer doesn't officially begin until Monday. It feels like it's in the middle of the summer today, and the only thing hotter than the weather is David DeJesus' bat.
And I think the term we hear all the time now is on fire, in fuego, and I think that covers David about as well as anybody else in Major League Baseball, because everything he is doing right now is working out well for him. Even when he doesn't hit the ball hard, he finds the open spaces in the outfield. He's in quite a groove. His approach remains the same all the time, day in, day out, and it's no problem hitting third. How about the month of June so far?
And the numbers just keep going and going. It's just been an impressive month for him. It's hard to believe that in the middle of last month he was struggling to hit 260, and now he's getting up into the middle 300s. He had a 4-hit game last night, but the Royals have had several 4-hit games against the National League.
Well, the National League pitching has really suited them well, and you look at the 4-hit ball games over the last couple of weeks now that you've gotten into interleague play. A lot of times a 4-hit game might be a career high for a guy, but they're just falling out of the sky right now. The Royals' offense is on fire. Billy Butler in the middle along with David DeJesus. Avila's down in the order a little bit, but still swinging it pretty well.
So that's what the Royals are doing on offense. On the mound tonight is Anthony LaRue, and the Royals saw him last year for 3 games. He made 2 starts, and those were against the Red Sox and the Yankees. He gets the Astros tonight, and we'll talk about him right after this. More, visit Kia.com. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. Top Gun night has finally arrived, although I'm not sure how many bomber jackets we're going to see tonight. with Inc. College Night, the Royals and the Astros, and Anthony LaRue making the start for the Royals. Let's get reacquainted with him through the Kia Report.
Ryan, you really don't know what to expect with the guy coming up for his first ball game back, but the Royals know if he has his good fastball command, it'll make his changeup even better. They run hand in hand. They love the way he battles in the middle of the diamond from his Double-A days a year ago. They'd love to have 5 innings out. If they can get 6, that'd be special. You don't want him leaving early here tonight. You've seen him battle against the top teams in the league. Now see what he does against Houston here tonight.
And the Houston team has struggled offensively in the National League. Here's the M&I Bank batting order and changes from the first 2 games. Corey Sullivan will be in left field, so no Jason Michaels. He has driven in 5 runs in the first 2 games. Jeff Blum will be at shortstop, and Kevin Cash is behind the plate. Changes for the Royals. Jose Guillen's going to get another game in right field, so that opens up DH for Wilson Betemit, who had a 2-home-run game and a 2-double game on the last road trip. The Royals and the Astros. The first pitch is next. Tonight in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. And out in right field, battling the sun, battling this heat, is Joel Goldberg.
Just saw Anthony LaRue warming up out here in right field, and he said his game day routine is really simple. Sleep, wake up and eat, sleep some more, and come to the ballpark. The music was blasting in the clubhouse earlier today. He was dancing around a little bit. He is a guy that is very loose. We learned that last year. Likes to go out there and have a good time. Really big into the pranks. Really big into having a good time. Frank saying it reminds him a little bit of Brett Saberhagen. I tried to ask him some details, but most of them, well, he really can't mention on TV. Most important for him, wants to get his first Major League win tonight, guys.
Well, we learned last year, Split, even though we saw Anthony LaRue in only 3 games, 2 of those starts were against the Red Sox and the Yankees, and really had no fear. He just came right at the Red Sox and the Yankees.
He was not intimidated at all. He threw the ball over the plate, was not afraid of his stuff and what might happen to it. He pitched well at AA Northwest Arkansas a year ago, solid at AAA this year when the Royals needed another starter. They had options there. They had some other people they could have gone to, but said he was doing better than anybody else. Let's bring him on back. And remember, he wasn't even on the 40-man roster. It designated him for assignment after camp. He was on the big league roster in camp this year. They had to get him back on the roster to get him back here to KC.
And can I suggest a trim down Anthony LaRue compared to last year? Tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint, and the city's still buzzing after the official announcement of the 2012 All-Star Game being here. But let's talk about this year. Who do you think will be the Royals' 2010 All-Star representative? David DeJesus, who is just knocking the cover off the ball this month, or Billy Butler, who's been among the league leaders in batting average all season long. Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by an A for DeJesus or a B for Butler.
David's now in the top 10 in the American League in hitting. Comes in at number 8 here tonight.
Michael Bourne just 1 out of 8 so far in the series, so the Royals have been able to keep him off the bases. He's only been on twice.
Look how tight folks are in the corner. Billy at first and Ty Hasbro at third.
Last year, remember in Houston, when the Royals took 2 out of 3, Michael Bourne was just 1 out of 13. 3 balls, no strikes. Pitch walk to Bourne, and it might take LaRue or a hitter or two to settle down. You know, he's fired up about getting back to the big leagues tonight. 88 degrees. The heat index was well above 100 all day today. Game started at 7:11. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. And now Jeff Keppinger. He is 2 for 8 with a run scored.
Now, if you're Brad Mills, you know you have a couple things you can do. You can go ahead and take pitches and force a guy to find home plate, maybe walk another one. You can go hit and run. Keppinger, great taking the ball to the right side. Got one of the faster players in all of baseball on the first base. So a couple ways to go here. Houston, not the kind of team that can sit back and wait offensively for somebody to hit a long ball. They have to kind of manufacture some things up at the top of the order.
The Astros have hit 40 home runs in their first 66 games. That is last in the National League. Michael Bourne with 21 stolen bases. That leads the National League. He's been thrown out 6 times. Doesn't have a very threatening lead over at first, and not running as Keppinger grounds it to third. Callasco to second, out there, no double play. But if you're going to get one out, you might as well get Michael Bourne off the bases.
Yeah, you love the trade-off right here. It was going to be tough to turn it over, even with a right-handed hitter in the batter's box. The throw is simply too long. It's a high chopping ground ball to third. Velas turned it over pretty well that time, but just a little bit late at first base. He was able to avoid the base runner there as well.
So you go from a runner with 21 stolen bases to a runner with 1 stolen base over at first. And Lance Berkman at the plate. Berkman on Tuesday night put an end to an 0 for 15. He only has 1 hit in this series, but a couple of walks. And he's come around to score 3 times. Twice last night, Bruce Chen walked him, leading off an inning in the 4th and the 6th inning, and both times he came around to score. One ball, 1 strike.
see Lance Berkman's batting average in at 235. He is a career 299 hitter, so way out of sorts right now. But we're approaching the halfway point of the season. His longest hit streak is just a half a dozen, so normally he's up around 12 or 15. Maybe had a couple of them by now, but not so far here in 2010. You get the feeling LaRue has not settled in yet. Not comfortable with the changeup, not consistently throwing strikes, either down in the zone or to one side of the plate or the other.
Now he gets his second hit of the series, and the Astros have 2 on with 1 out. Here are the Royals defensively tonight, presented by Suzuki. With Sednick, DeJesus, Guillen in the outfield. Iasco, Betancourt, Avilas, and Butler on the dirt. And Jason Kendall behind the plate. So Jose Guillen getting some time in right field as the Royals prepare for the 6 upcoming games in Atlanta and in Washington. Carlos Lee, 2 for 7 in the first 2 games. Started in left field on Tuesday. He's been the DH the last 2 nights.
This is a long 10-game, 11-day road trip for Houston. Lee leads them in RBI so far. He's driven in 9 since they've left town. Started a big series over the weekend at home against Texas. They play home and home with their series again this year. They battle for what, the Silver Boot? Is that what it is?
Yeah, but don't forget about the Walmart Cup. We're settling the Walmart Cup before they get to the Silver Boot. Look out.
We didn't need that one, did we?
No. Bad trajectory.
A little too much heat on this one.
Right in your living room, folks.
Fortunately, came in just a little bit low.
Two balls and 2 strikes. This is an important road trip for the Astros. We told you about their 0-8 and 1-9 start this year, so they're trying to put things back together just like the Royals are. And on this long trip that Split was telling you about, they are 4-5 so far, so that would be a big step forward if they could go home and be 5-5.
He got it off to a great start as well in Colorado. Won 3 out of the first 4 and had to go to New York. Got swept there. Hoping to win the series here tonight.
Brad Mills, the manager in his first year. One of those guys that is very well liked around the game. Certainly paid his dues. Longtime major league coach, and before that a longtime minor league manager. He was with Terry Francona as bench coach in Philadelphia and then in Boston. LaRue strikes out Carlos Lee, and there are 2 down in the first inning.
Well, as you get to know LaRue, you wonder, okay, what is his out pitch and what is his strikeout pitch? That one, a fastball off the plate, he ends up with Carlos Lee just chasing a bad one right there. Lee probably thought that ball was going to back up to get the outside edge. Didn't happen, but he's the second out of the inning. You mentioned Brad Mills being very close with Francona in Boston. They go way back to their college days when they were roommates at Arizona. So they've known each other a long time.
Last 2 fastballs from LaRue at 93 miles an hour. 0-1 to Hunter Pence. 3 hits, 3 runs scored in the first 2 games. Very late on the fastball, and it's 0-2.
These are not the best of hitting conditions. The pitcher and batter in the shadows and that bright sunshine in the hitter's backdrop in center field. So this is a little bit tough to pick some things up right now. So if you're the pitcher, go ahead and use that to your advantage. If you're aware of it, just pound that strike zone.
1-2. That was at 94 miles an hour. Nobody in the Astros lineup has faced Anthony LaRue. So that is typically advantage pitcher. And then the hitting conditions that Split was talking about. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Now, LaRue does not have his normal rest between starts. Instead of having 4 days off and going on day number 5, this is day number 4 for him. So he's going on 3 days rest. But he talked about it yesterday, said should not be a problem. It's never a problem when you're coming up to the big leagues. I mean, the heart's already pounding. Who cares? Go on a half day's rest.
Are you going to take the risk of saying, I'm not sure I'll be ready by Thursday night, risking that they might call on someone else who will gladly pitch on Thursday? Still 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hunter Pence.
We mentioned in game 1, Pence really unorthodox at the plate. So you say, well, did he take a bad swing there? Is that normally the way he reacts to the breaking ball? He's the kind of guy, he'll hit for a pretty high average, even on kind of a weird looking swing like he just put in.
Tomahawks it to left field, and Pasetnik has it sail over his glove. That's going to cost the Royals 2 runs. So after 3 foul balls, Hunter Pence drives in his 30th and 31st runs of the year.
And Ryan, that was a Tomahawk job on a fastball up and out over the plate. Just stays on top of it. The front end flies wide open, but he just hammers it to left field. Tough to get to read on the low line drive for the outfielder. Sednick gave it a good effort going to his left, but ball got over his head. When that happened, you knew it was going to be in there for extra bases.
And now Corey Sullivan. He's playing for the first time in the series. So no Jason Michaels, and the Royals are fine with that. Michaels driving in 3 last night and 2 on Tuesday. Royals have seen Corey Sullivan before, but that was with the Colorado Rockies. No balls, 2 strikes.
Sullivan, kind of a veteran outfielder, has split time the last several years between AAA and the Major League team. New York Mets a year ago. You mentioned Colorado a couple seasons back. If you're going to be a backup guy, the National League is where you want to be.
To Betancourt, and that's the inning. But Hunter Pence drives in 2 with 2 outs. Against right-hander Brett Myers with this lineup presented by M&I Bank. Jose Guillen will get a chance to play in right field. The Royals will be in Atlanta tomorrow, and Jose will be back in the field. And Wilson Bettamy, who is hitting .500 this year with 2 home runs and 3 doubles. He doesn't have a single yet. Here's the Kia report on right-hander Brett Myers.
Well, the former Phillies ace for the last 3 years. 4-4 in his year with Houston. Very aggressive guy. Only faced the lineup. Only 3 in the lineup have faced him. He's never been here to Kansas City before, so you don't know a whole lot about him. But you do know that you have to get him early. Opponents hit him 343 against him the first time. If he gets to inning number 6 here tonight, very possibly might have it on cruise control by then. He's one of those guys that gets better as he goes along.
Four hits in the series for Scott Posednik, and he has scored 3 runs. Keppinger was shallow on the right side, so he gets Posednik by a few steps, and there is 1 out. Now let's look at the Astros defensively tonight. Corey Sullivan is in left field. That's a change from the first 2 games. And Jeff Blum will be at shortstop, so the rookie Tommy Manzella is out. And the veteran Kevin Cash replaces Humberto Quintero. Jason Kendall is one of the 3 Royals that has faced Brett Myers, 1 for 6. And in this series, 1 out of 8 with an RBI. Line to left field for a 1-out single. Kendall thinking about going to second base as that throw got away coming in from left field.
Solid base hit to left field. Normally tries to take the ball the opposite way. Made the turn at first base. The ball gets away from the pitcher, coming back in from the middle infield, not on the throw from left field. Got all the way to foul territory. Kendall thought about moving up, but Cash was behind the plate and was able to pick it off. Myers looking right at the shortstop. The ball went right by him.
Ball 1 to David DeJesus. 7 out of 10 in the first 2 games. So a split set. All of a sudden he is 8th in the league in hitting at 329, and now 6th in the league with 81 hits. Two balls and no strikes.
When you look at both lineups, the number 3 hitter is usually the best bat in your lineup. I'm not sure that that was the case when they dropped David from number 1 into that number 3 spot, even though he had been swinging the bat pretty well. You normally think of Billy being the best hitter on the ball club, but right now, David is every bit as good.
2 balls, 1 strike.
I'd see some guys taken early against Myers, having not seen him before. Doesn't throw as hard as he used to. At one time, he was steadily into the mid-90s with his velocity. He'll probably be 90 to 92 here tonight.
David into left field, and Sullivan played perfectly. Is there to make the catch. Kendall back to first base, and there are 2 down. Well, like a lot of pitchers, and especially the good ones, if you're going to get them early. And that's what the Yankees did to Myers on Friday. They scored 4 runs against him in 7 innings, but they got 3 of those 4 runs in the very first inning. And as Billy Butler digs in, we revisit You Call It, presented by Sprint, and right now it's a runaway with fans thinking that Billy Butler should represent the Royals. Billy has been more steady this year. April, May, and June, where DeJesus has really turned it up this month. Feliz has it skip under his glove and out into left field.
Gets the ball sharply. It looks like a routine play for Feliz, who was a solid defender at that position. Ball gets by him into left field. Let's see if the Royals can capitalize early here tonight. They were handing out awards before the start of the game. Player of the month, Billy Butler.
So a gift because of the Feliz error. Now 2 on for Jose Guillen. Jose has hit in 11 straight. batting at .266. He has 8 career at-bats against Myers and 2 hits. Oh, and 2. Especially out of the windup. If you really look hard and if you use your imagination, you can see the mechanics of Curt Schilling. And that's who Brett Myers modeled himself after as he was growing up in high school. And as fate would have it, he was drafted by the Phillies. Took him in the first round in 1999.
Similar size, similar stuff. Fastball, solid breaking ball. Also similar attitude as far as the willingness to go out and battle. You see, it's also kind of followed Roy Oswalt a little bit. Oswalt a very fast worker. Now all of a sudden Myers finds himself working a little bit quicker. It's also trickled down to the rest of the rotation. Felipe Paulino, now a fast worker. So they see guys having some luck with that. Wandy Rodriguez also working at a faster pace. It's helped them overall. There's a whole lot of Curt Schilling in that windup.
And he wears the number 39. And when he was drafted by the Phillies in 1999, he boldly declared himself the next Schilling. Developed a relationship with him. So Schilling has mentored Brett Myers. Right field, Hunter Pence goes back into the sunlight to make the play. So the Royals get a gift with the air, but strand 2 against Myers. Double in the first inning. Just a reminder to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. Anthony LaRue would like to be a part of that, going for his first Major League win. This is his 15th Major League appearance and his 6th start. Originally from the Braves organization, Anthony was drafted in the 11th round in 2001, and the scout that signed him was J.J. Piccolo. J.J. now the Royals' Director of Scouting and Player Development.
Trying to get guys signed from this draft.
Pedro Feliz, 2 hits, 2 RBIs so far. Down, no balls, 2 strikes. The LaRue story is an interesting one because in some ways he was a diamond in the rough. You don't normally say that about an 11th round pick. That's still high enough. Nice play by Callaspo on a running backhand.
Really looks good at third base, going to his right. Loves to go to the backhand. That ball gets by him. That's a double up into the corner. Fortunately, he was playing deep.
And now Jeff Blum. So he plays in the series for the first time and takes strike one. Back in 2000, Anthony LaRue, growing up in Pennsylvania, went to an open tryout, and J.J. Piccolo was there. That was his region, and it was before the high school season. And LaRue pitched well, but then shortly after that, he broke his right wrist. And he was mostly a football player in Pennsylvania. And during the football season, he broke the wrist again. So he wasn't able to play the next year in high school. So many scouts had no idea who he was. But J.J. remembered. And when the draft rolled around, they took a chance on him in the 11th round. And another player that gets to the big leagues. 2 up, 2 down in the second inning. Anthony LaRue was on his way to Penn State to be a punter before signing with the Atlanta Braves.
Another Darren Erstad. Although everybody knew about Erstad. He was one of the top picks in the country. What was that? Probably 1995?
Sounds right.
I always wanted to see one of those sprinters break loose on one of his punts to see how fast he really was. He looked awfully good on the baseball field, but get out with some of the track guys and let's see how it goes.
He won at least one national championship, didn't he, in Nebraska?
They'd have been close if they didn't. Yeah, I believe they did. I know he was involved in a big collision at home plate here one time. Coming around third base, really cut it tight at the corner. I can't remember who the catcher was, but I think he got the best of it.
Well, on the topic of diamonds in the rough, Kevin Cash at the plate, one of those guys that was never drafted and got to the big leagues. And typically when the draft is over, teams will still offer contracts to guys that they just couldn't fit in the draft. And Kevin Cash signed by the Blue Jays after the 1999 draft. And he got to the big leagues nonetheless, so he was beyond the 50th round. So LaRue walks his second. And now the top of the order again, and Michael Bourne. He walked to begin the game on 4 pitches. So you can understand if LaRue was a bit amped up in his first major league start of this year. And now a good sinking fastball for strike one, or maybe that was a changeup, which most people believe is LaRue's best pitch. But as you pointed out, Split, the changeup doesn't mean a whole lot if you're not locating the fastball.
Rarely do you see a guy who is successful with the changeup as his best pitch if he doesn't have the fastball with some kind of action to it, because the changeup by name is a change of something. Some guys use their change as a change of speed off a breaking ball. Now you think of Pedro Martinez, and I think a lot of people always thought his changeup was his best pitch, and many times it was, but what would it have been without that fastball at the mid-90s that he had?
Bourne is down on strikes, and the Astros are done in the second inning. Knights. Home Depot doing more on defense. Line drive off the bat of Pedro Feliz, leading off the top of the second inning. Our defensive play of the game, brought to you by the Home Depot. Callaspo, Aviles, and Bedamit in the second inning. Jeff Blum at shortstop takes care of Alberto on just one pitch. Just a reminder to go to FoxSportsKansasCity.com to vote for your Royals' top memorable moments that you'd like to see replayed here on Fox Sports Kansas City. George Brett's home run in the 1980 ALCS off of Goose Gossage into the upper deck. Final out of the 85 World Series. Catch replay. Season premiere is coming up on June the 20th. You have to look very closely, but for the final out of the 85 World Series, Andy Van Slyke with a fly ball to right field. Darryl Motley makes the catch. Brett Saberhagen leaps into George Brett's arms. But the part that I always remember is as the ball is going to right field, and you have to look at it very carefully, is Frank White jumping up and down like a little kid at second base, realizing he was going to get a World Series ring. Aviles lines out to second base, and there are two down in the second inning.
That was an amazing postseason. The Royals down 3-1 to Toronto, able to come back. That was the first year that they had gone past the 3 games. That was the first time they had gone to the expanded playoff in the league playoffs. And then down 3-1 to St. Louis, able to come back on that one. Team came from behind all year. Not the favorite at any time to even get out of the division. That took a great final week to get it closed out.
One ball, one strike on Wilson Bedamit. Bedamit 3 out of 8 against Brett Myers. And as a Royal this year, 5 out of 10, 2 home runs and 3 doubles, and Myers working quickly, and Tim McClellan helping out Bedamit and calling time, trying to slow him down. Boy, I can really see Curt Schilling and Brett Myers working out of the windup.
Their personality is a whole lot different. Schilling is very calm on the mound. Myers is very hyper. That's why sometimes he has trouble in the first inning or two before he settles in.
Sky to right center field. Michael Bourne calling off Hunter Pence. And that's the inning. and it has arrived, and I think we have winners there. They went beyond the bomber jackets. They have the flight suits on to go with the aviator shades. And speaking of Top Gun,
yes,
here's Dennis Leonard, Royals Hall of Famer and Mr. Complete Game. Good to see you, Leo.
Well, it's good to be here. I'm not out here very often, so it's nice to come out and watch a game.
Leo's here to talk about Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp, which is coming up next February in Surprise, Arizona. And the details that we always describe are baseball related. You know, how many uniforms you get and a locker stall and all that, but it always makes me smile when I hear that the real impact that fantasy camp has is all the non-baseball stuff, all the conversations and all the stories and all the camaraderie.
Oh, I definitely think so. You know, there's a lot of guys that we've eaten a few the other day when we had that BP session here that, you know, they got up and spoke in behalf of the fantasy camp, what we're trying to do, and basically said, just like us as former players, you know, they form relationships not only with their teammates for that 1 week, but with a lot of the other guys, and, you know, they continue with those relationships throughout the year.
How hard did you get hit in the BP?
Well, it wasn't too bad. I had the first group. I didn't give up too many home runs that particular day, but, you know, it's fun to come out here and throw again.
Now, I have a pitching question. We'll get back to fantasy camp.
Okay.
I was thinking about this on a hot night. You know, LaRue is a fast worker. Myers is a fast worker. And, of course, catchers and defense, and everyone likes a fast worker. But on a night like tonight, do you want to slow down just a little bit, catch your breath?
Not really. I really enjoyed pitching in the heat. I can't say I really enjoyed it during the day games because that sun kind of saps the strength out of you. But at the night, I think it keeps you really loose. You can go deeper into the game, hopefully. And, you know, I always enjoyed the heat. But you just go as hard as you can, as long as you can.
Now, you were the Mark Burley of your era.
I thought the first night was tough. I mean, that first muggy night, we'd come out of Fort Myers being in great shape. And you always go, and we always started out in the cold weather city for some reason. But, you know, that first hot night, I thought it was tough. But after that, it was kind of fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I'd rather pitch in 80 to 90 degree weather than to pitch in 30 to 40 degree weather, obviously. You know, it's easy to grip the ball. You might have to change your uniform or top every once in a while, but, you know, that's no big deal.
Can you hang around for another half inning?
Not. I will do that.
All right. 2-0 Astros. Wife Sharon serve on the board of Operation Breakthrough, an inner-city child care in Kansas City. He and Sharon also decided to mentor a boy and girl when they were quite young and have continued to be a part of their lives for the past dozen years. And tonight they're enjoying the game from the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat right behind home plate. Up here in the booth, Ryan Lefevre with Paul Splittorff, and we're joined by Royals Hall of Famer Dennis Leonard, and we're talking about Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp. Dennis Leonard of the Royals record 21 complete games in 1 year, 103 in his career, and it never gets old. I've been on a few caravans with Leo, and inevitably we'll have a current pitcher with us, and someone will bring up Leo's 21 complete games, and they'll think, oh yeah, that's pretty good for a career. No, that was 1 year, and he had another year when he had 20, and it's always fun to watch them fall out of their chair.
Well, the game is obviously different right now. If you went 30 or 40 years before Paul and I played, you know, those guys starting 40 and 50 games, 60 games a year, and completing 40 of them. So, you know, it's all relative where you are, but I think the complete game right now is definitely out of baseball. You're not going to see too many players go out there for 9.
Betancourt down on strikes. Myers strikes out his first. Anthony LaRue has 4. So what are your favorite memories of Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp?
Well, basically going down there, what I enjoy is, number one, you know, I went through that at one time walking into the Kansas City locker room. You know, to walk in there and see this big stall with my name on my uniform and say, wow, I really made it. And I get a kick out of watching some of the participants that go down there when they first walk into that clubhouse, and we're in the Major League side there, and they see their locker with their name on it, and they see their gear hanging up there, and, you know, after it gets all dirty, then tomorrow, the next day, it's going to be all clean again. So to watch their faces, I think it's a very memorable occasion, not only for me, but it's a memorable occasion for the people that go there. And, you know, I don't think I've ever talked to anybody that really didn't have a really good time down there. I mean, it's something that's worthwhile. It's not something you might be able to do every year, but to go down there and give it a try, I think everybody really enjoy it.
Posednik is down. He is 0 for 2.
Some guys are always worried that they're going to be the worst player there. I mean, it just does not happen. I mean, you look around, you're going to be like a number of other guys, and you're going to fit in. That is not a problem, is it?
No, talent-wise, it's not a problem. The one thing is, though, you don't want to go down there and get hurt. There's been times before where somebody tweaked, you know, pulled a hamstring or this, that, and the other thing. You just got to realize that the whole game is a lot slower. So if you hit a 1 bouncer, a 2 bouncer to shortstop, just jog, because it's going to be a throw to first. It's going to be a 1 or 2 bouncer trying to get you out.
Leo, thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate it. Once again, I encourage everybody to give it a whirl.
All right, Royals Hall of Famer Dennis Leonard. And as we go to the 4th inning, Astros lead 2-0. Tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Current longest airless streaks, and David DeJesus chasing Randy Wynn now at the Cardinals, and Jason Bay with the Mets. So David has not only broken the Royals' consecutive errorless streak. He has smashed it into little pieces. 36 more games than Amos Otis' record, which was 178.
Jason Bay was never really known for his glove work, was he?
I don't think so. I mean,
solid outfielder, but not some kind of run like that.
Sometimes there's a reason why you played left field for the Boston Red Sox.
Hey, he played it pretty well, though.
Yeah, he did. Hunter Pence driving in 2 in the first inning. Otherwise, Anthony LaRue has pitched well. Brett Myers has pitched well. Myers has hit 94, LaRue 93 so far in the Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. And now LaRue has struck out his 5th. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable.
He's effective on that outside corner now of the right-handed hitters. He was overthrowing in that first inning and missing outside, but a little low 3/4 release point. Good breaking ball there. And swinging right through it.
That is a pitch that is sometimes referred to as a slurve. Not quite a curveball, not quite a slider. It's somewhere in between. Corey Sullivan 0 for 1. Line to short first time up. And he's down, no balls, 2 strikes. So LaRue has only made one, I don't know if you want to call it a bad pitch. It was up and maybe out of the strike zone when Hunter Pence doubled in 2 from left field. And now he is just mowing down the Astros. He has 6 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings.
He's doing a nice job of expanding the zone. Get ahead. And all of a sudden you get guys that go after pitches like that. Good tailing action. Late life. Maybe started in the zone, but ended up with a strikeout on a pitch that was probably 6 or 7 inches outside. Pretty good numbers right there. The pitch count now in the upper 50s. So the strikeouts do run up the total. He's all over the plate right now, though.
Pedro Feliz lined out to third in the second inning. Caught by Alberto Callaspo with a running backhand. That was our Home Depot defensive play of the game. One ball, 2 strikes. LaRue made his major league debut with the Braves in 2005. And a couple of years after that, he blew out his elbow, had the Tommy John surgery, and didn't get back to the big leagues until September of last year with the Royals. He was out for over 2 years. That got the bat. So a foul ball and still 1-2 on Feliz.
Ryan, you talk about a player advancing in the system. Last fall when he came up, he was the 11th different pitcher to start a ball game. Here in 2010, he's the 7th. Royals really had great luck with their rotation for the first month and a half, but all of a sudden Gill had to go on the disabled list. You got Bruce Chen in the rotation. Now Luke Hochhaver goes out with the elbow, so you have to dig into the minor leagues a little bit. Royals now out there with the 7th starter of the year. He
2 balls, 2 strikes.
He is a lot slimmer now than he was last fall. I remember his ball game, his first time out was against the Red Sox, and he got a warning on a breaking ball that he threw inside to Mike Lowell. Both benches got warned. He got put in a bad position right there, battling against a tough team. All of a sudden, you take away the inside part of the plate. He did hang around for the next couple innings. Pitched all right. Didn't really stand up, but you had to feel for him on that night. First night up here, he ended up getting warned in about the second inning. Didn't help that he's going against Josh Beckett. As I remember, the Royals made 5 errors that night, so the defense kind of fell apart too.
Got in on the hands, and an easy play for Aviles. So LaRue has retired the last 7 with 5 strikeouts. Possible with the nation's fastest 3G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment, powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Oh, and 1 to David DeJesus, flied out to left field in the first inning. So that makes him 7 out of 11 in this series. Myers has retired the last 7. Anthony LaRue has retired the last 7. Astros getting 2 in the top of the first inning on a 2-run double from Hunter Pence. It'll be DeJesus, Butler, and Guillen in the bottom of the 4th inning. 2-1. David DeJesus and Billy Butler in tonight's sprint, you call it. Wow, what happened? Billy was at 88% to 11% in front of DeJesus, and now David ahead 52 to 48. So keep voting. Missed the changeup. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Myers doing the changeup right there. Might have taken a page out of the book of Roy Oswald. We had a lot of swing and misses last night on a slow curveball. A sitting fastball.
How about the movement on that pitch? Started inside. David quit on it, and it tailed over the corner.
Yeah, just freeze the hitter. Go ahead and throw it to his belt buckle. Figure it's going to stay inside, then back it up. The ball ended up almost in the middle of the plate. David knew it was going to be the out. Talk about backgrounds. He's got kind of an unusual background. His dad was a fight promoter, and so he did some prize fighting at the amateur level. Thought of Coco Crisp when I heard that. Myers also an avid bowler. Has a couple bowling lanes in his home. He makes his home down in Florida, outside Tampa.
He is originally from Jacksonville, and his high school was the rival high school of Billy Butler. And they faced each other in high school, sort of. Myers was a senior. Billy was an 8th grader. And you say, well, how is an 8th grader playing varsity? Well, Billy went to a private school that was K through 12. So there was no delineation between middle school and high school. And Billy was on his team's varsity as an 8th grader. Two balls, 2 strikes. Check that. 3-1.
I've heard of some of the basketball players maybe making the varsity, 7th grade, 8th grade. Played 6 years of high school basketball. High school is about my 6 toughest years, too.
Line to left field, and that's over. Sullivan. Billy into second base with his 21st double. Let's check the location on Pitch Tracks, brought to you by Chevy.
Well, Billy is a dead fastball hitter. They're working him away. Tried to get away again, but didn't get it there. See if his eyes light up when he sees something on the inner half. Yeah, they did. He just listened to the left field. Sullivan got a great jump on this ball. He never got anywhere near running it down. Has to play it off the wall. Billy out at second base. Double number 21 this year.
And safe and secure at second base, New York Life. Now Jose Guillen out on a fly ball to right field in the first inning. And Myers is lucky that that was a ground ball foul outside of third base. Change up at 84 coming in above the belt. And Jose, that little motion with his top hand, his left arm, was telling himself to stay through the ball, not hook the ball like he did with that pitch that was up.
Yeah, Joe's talking about Jose playing right field and said when he had him out there last week, see some of the young fans here in the ballpark, had him out last week. He used a defensive replacement the last couple innings, a couple nights, and said, hey, he did fine in right field the next couple days. He didn't do it at all. Jose was out there the whole 9 innings. And I respect we'd see that when this club goes to Atlanta. I think the Royals, at the point right now, really have to have his bat in the lineup. If the manager is comfortable with it, I'm sure that's the way they'll go.
He has a lot more ground to cover here, and he will in Atlanta compared to Cincinnati, where the dimensions are much shallower. Jose was just fine defensively in the series with the Reds.
I keep coming back to something Ned said very early. He says, I believe that guys can get the job done until they show me they can. Kind of a different approach to some guys that you hear, but until you show them that you can't do it, you're going to get an opportunity to be out there. Up to this point, Guillen has looked pretty good in right field.
Almost ducked into that curveball.
Remember, that was an issue back in camp out in Arizona. He wanted to play right field. The Royals had it etched in stone that he was going to be DH. They were going to go with David DeHaze, it seemed, right? He didn't get much of a look in spring training, did he?
Got a few games.
He's moving better now than I think he was in February and March.
Broke his bat. Billy goes to third, and Blum allows him to do so. He'll throw out Guillen. So Billy to third base with 2 down. Coming up on the next homestand, we'll have a Fireworks Friday at the beginning of the Royals-Cardinals series. That's Friday, June the 25th, a 7:10 game. And another new and improved Fireworks Friday after the game, presented by Pepsi and Hy-Vee. You can get your tickets right now at Royals.com or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. So Billy at third. Alberto Callaspo takes ball 1. Alberto out on a ground ball to short, his first time up. He is 3 out of 10 in the series. All 3 hits coming on Tuesday night in game 1. 2-0. Three balls, no strikes. Myers hasn't walked anyone yet, and he will give up walks. Not a lot of walks. He has walked 3 or more in 7 of his last 9 starts. Three and 1 to Cayaspo.
Houston has found a way to win 7 of his last 11 times out. So even with the Wasps maybe being elevated a little bit, he's found a way to keep himself in the game, give his club an opportunity.
And he goes with a changeup and fills out the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
He was kind of a late sign. He didn't sign until January of this year, and that's maybe a little bit of a surprise when you figure a guy's been a #1 starter for a contending team. Some of those guys are in hot demand. Get signed November and December.
Had Cayaspo reaching for a changeup, so he didn't get all over it. And out on a fly ball to Hunter Pence. Royals lead Butler at third. Kauffman Stadium, 2-0 Astros, and Houston getting both of their runs in the first inning since then. Anthony LaRue has really settled down. He has struck out 6.
Royals really have to be happy where he is right now. He's had a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings, so still in pretty good shape, and got to be confident right now. He has found home plate. That was the problem early, but not here recently.
And of those 6 strikeouts, 5 of those against the last 7 hitters. Jeff Blum takes ball 1. He grounded out to Butler in the second inning. One ball, 1 strike. Kevin Cash on deck, and then Michael Bourne coming up. In the first game of the series, we talked about Scott Posednik's walk-off home run against the Astros in the 2005 World Series, playing for Chicago. Well, Jeff Blum at the plate, he also had a big hit for the White Sox against the Astros. He had a home run in the 14th inning of Game 3. He played for the Astros before '05, and he's back with the Astros again, but his most memorable moment was a big hit against Houston. Also coming up on the next homestand, the first 20,000 fans on Sunday, June the 27th. They're going to get this 1985 Royals World Series poster presented by James Printing. That's a 1:10 game on Sunday. And select posters will be signed by Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. So you want to get there early for that. Kevin Cash has walked and now singled to left field. And that's the first hit for the Astros since they scored 2 in the first inning. And that'll bring up Michael Bourne. He opened the game with a 4-pitch walk, and then he struck out in the second inning, so he is just 1 for 9 in the series. And against the Royals the last 2 years now, 2 for 22.
He made a nice catch in center field last night to end the ball game, right? talked to a couple scouts. They feel like he has the best range of any center fielder in the major leagues right now. So you can talk Adam Jones all you want and Torrey Hunter, but this guy covers more ground than anybody else. Kind of interesting. He came over in a trade from Philadelphia to Houston for Brad Lidge. In the first year, Lidge kind of pitched Philadelphia to the World Series. Bourne didn't catch on in Houston, so that was a trade that was very much weighted in the favor of the Phillies. Now all of a sudden, Bourne came on last year, had a .350 on base percentage. It's balanced out pretty well. So sometimes it takes you maybe 2, 3, 4 years to find out whether it was a good trade. Year one, it was all Philadelphia. Now people aren't quite so sure. They might have the best defensive center fielder in all of baseball.
And when he gets on, he's a threat with 21 stolen bases. That's the most in the National League. But against the Royals, he's had difficulty getting to first base. And as the old baseball saying goes, you can't steal first. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He had been doing a good job of getting on base for Houston so far this year. His on base percentage right back at .350 where it was a year ago. That was coming into the series, but not much here in KC.
Into deep left center field. De Jesus with a great running play. How about that range in center field?
You know, Ned Yost was asked about that today as well. We'll talk about Guillen and Wright. And said, are you comfortable with David in center? And said, he hasn't showed me anything yet that tells me he cannot play it. Always just enough speed. Now, maybe not gold glove caliber because he's not a burner in the outfield, but well, it seems to be just effective enough no matter where you play with him here with the Royals. That's a beauty right there. Helps going to the glove side.
That ball seemed to carry onto Jesus as well. Now the wind is blowing out in that direction towards left center field. It's a warm, muggy night. So there really wasn't anything that was going to knock that ball down. De Jesus just simply had to outrun it.
David was not playing very deep at the time. Still not playing very deep.
Keppinger fouls it away, 0-2. Jeff Keppinger with the Royals in 2006. And I was talking to him before the game. Kind of reminds me of the last foul ball that he hit. Maybe his most memorable hit as a Royal was a pesky pole home run at Fenway Park. In an extra inning game, the Royals were down early, came back, tied it, went into extra innings, and Keppinger to that very short right field pole, which is a foul ball, as was his first foul ball in this plate appearance in most ballparks. But if you hit in the right spot up the right field line in Boston, you might get a cheap home run.
Well, I was trying to pitch him inside. The room misses badly there. If you remember, was it against the lefty? It's kind of a specialty. He's a career .340 hitter against left-handed pitching. Had a base hit against the Royals lefty here last night. When you think of him, you think of him playing well against lefties. And a tough strikeout. You mentioned year in and year out, one of the toughest over in their league. To punch out.
Chops it to Betancourt. And that is the inning. So the Astros are scoreless in the 5th, and LaRue getting a lift from this play from David De Jesus. David DeJesus, who makes an all-star-like play, running down a fly ball in center field. And speaking of all-stars, People Magazine's All-Stars Among Us recognizes 3 finalists for the Royals. And through June the 20th, you can vote for one of them by going to peopleallstars.com. The winner from the Royals will be honored at the All-Star Game in Anaheim on July the 13th, seen only on Fox. And you may have met Marcia Merrick during Hy-Vee Royals Live, interviewed by Joel. Despite having no income of her own, Marcia spends 60 hours each week feeding the hungry and homeless on the streets of Kansas City. Each morning, she gets up before dawn to prepare more than 400 sack lunches, each with a sandwich, chips, cookies, water, and a note of encouragement. She spends the rest of the day distributing the sack lunches to those in need. Her organization is reachingoutinc.org. Past a diving Blum. Mike Aviles is 1 for 2. He lost a base hit in the second inning on a line drive to Keppinger at second base.
Royals get their leadoff man for the first time in tonight's ball game. Solid shot off the bat of Aviles. Blum unable to come up with it.
That's just a third hit for the Royals in 4+ innings. Kendall singled in the first, Butler doubled in the fourth, and now Aviles single. Ball one to Wilson Betemeet. He flied out to center field in the second inning. I asked Wilson yesterday, getting back to those 15 games when he was with the Royals and had just 2 plate appearances. And then a week ago tonight, gets a start, hits 2 home runs in Minnesota. And he said early in his career, when he was with the Braves, Julio Franco was with Atlanta. Remember, Julio played till he was like 46 or 47 and really taught Wilson how to prepare for a game, whether you're in there or not in there. And Wilson said something very interesting. He said, I don't like surprises. I never want to be surprised. So he is prepared, even if he's not in the starting lineup, for every position during the game. He's thinking about what's going on in the game, what's going on in each position. He's thinking about what the pitcher's throwing, who happens to be on the mound at that time. So if the manager says, hey, Wilson, grab a bat, he's ready to go in as if he's been in there all night.
Well, he brought that reputation with him to the Royals, and Ned Yost talked about that as well. He knows how to prepare, so he can let him sit on the bench for 5, 6, 7 days in a row and knows that he'll be prepared in batting practice, goes through it every day. He was not surprised that he performed well last week. That's why he came to the Royals, because of his versatility. He can play anywhere in the infield.
Aviles runs. Berkman looks to second. He'll take the sure out and walk over to the bag. So it's an out, but a productive out as Aviles moves up and 1 away. Here's tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who is the only National League team that has never played at Kauffman Stadium? Now I'll get some clarification from the truck. Is that a National League team or is that a National League organization? Caught on the short hop. Otherwise, Aviles is out. No, they're going to say that ball was caught. I don't think so. Second base umpire Mike Everett says it was a catch. The Astros are sprinting off the field. And Mike Everett, to his credit, wants to talk to the other umpires. We'll take a quick break, but hold everything. The umpires are going to talk this one over. The crew chief is the home plate umpire, Tim McClellan.
Now, Everett was on the inside of the diamond right there, and the runner at second base had already moved over to third, so he wasn't blocked out right there, but they go circle him up and see if we can get this thing right. That is not a reviewable play. The only review we have in baseball right now is what you would call a boundary call. Ball by the foul pole, over the fence, something like that. Something that has to do with the boundary, not a ball in the infield. So not reviewable. See if these guys can get it right. It's hard to find the Astros right now. They're all lined up to hit.
Well, this would mean that the call is going to stand, and I'm assuming that Tim McClellan is saying, hey, you may have had a better angle from the Royals dugout, but the way we saw it, it was a catch, and it clearly hits the ground.
Seeing nobody blocking out the second base umpire right there. Gillis right now wonders whether he's made a mistake or not, where he's going to be doubled off, but sees the ball bounce. So now all of a sudden he knows he's okay to go to third base.
Well, so much for my theory that the umpires are explaining that Ned Yost had a better angle. There's Mike Everett right there. I mean, he's not only has the same angle, he's much closer. So anyway, it goes down as a double play, 6-4, and the Royals are down 2-0 at the end of 5. Tim McClellan, the crew chief, went over and talked to Ned Yost. Ned didn't seem very happy with what McClellan had to say, but the Astros have not sent anyone to the plate. They also haven't gone back out in the field on defense. The Royals base coaches are still out there. Mike Aviles is still standing at third base, and the Astros are going to retake the field. So we were challenged in game 1 on Tuesday with the rule book. Now this one is very interesting because an out was called on a soft liner towards shortstop. I said it was a 6-4 double play. It was actually a 6 unassisted double play if that was the original ruling. So Blum thought he had caught the ball because that's what the umpire ruled. He goes to second base. Aviles advances to third. He never throws over to first base. You can't assume, can you, that he was going to throw over to first base when he never threw to first base.
He never had to throw to first base. There's Everett, the umpire, with his right hand in the air, indicating the out on the pop-up in the infield of the little looper. There's no reason for Bloom to throw the ball to first base. He's got to force out at second. Tell you, Bloom in a bad position right there because of the call of the umpire. That is going to end up getting reversed, apparently. And now Houston in a bad position. Now they got the call right on the little looper in the infield, but all of a sudden now, because of what the umpire did, Bloom makes the play based on what he saw right in front of him, and it looks like the Royals are going to be hitting.
The curious thing about this is that the scoreboard, and of course the folks in the scoreboard are not in communication with the umpires, but there is one out on the scoreboard. Mike Aviles is at third base, and there is nobody at first base. Now, Ned Yost went out and talked to Tim McClellan. So if Tim McClellan told him, okay, it was not a catch and Betancourt is safe, well, he would have told Yuniesky Betancourt to go out to first base. So there's no runner at first base. There is one out on the scoreboard, and Mike Aviles is at third. So if there's a throw to first base, there's only 2 outs in the inning.
I think they're going to go call with the call on the field of an out right there, kind of split the middle, give the Astros a little bit because of the confusion, but don't take the Royals out of the inning because that is not a force out of Aviles at second base. But because of the out call right there, they don't throw to first. That'd be a heck of a penalty for Houston if they don't get anybody out on what is going to turn into a routine play.
So here's what I'm going with, Split. I'm going with that this is obviously the judgment of the umpire is that, and you say split the middle. I'm assuming that the original call is going to stand, even though it was the wrong call. Unievsky Betancourt out on a soft liner to short. However, since they missed the call, they will not allow the double play of Mike Aviles. So I'm assuming that at some point we're going to see 2 outs on the scoreboard. Betancourt is out because that was the call. It was a judgment call. Apparently none of the other umpires saw something other than what Mike Everett saw, so they didn't overrule that. But then again, if you don't overrule it, it should be a double play and the inning is over.
And neither manager is going to be happy. Ned Yost is going to say, wait a minute, they shouldn't have had any outs. They didn't catch the ball on the fly. So Betancourt ought to be on first base. They tied second, but Aviles, that was not a force out on him. I should have 2 base runners. So Ned didn't look happy. Brad Mills isn't happy because his guy did exactly what the umpire said he should do. Caught the ball in the air, got the tag out of second base. We ought to be hitting.
Well, we'll break the rule book out and check out, I guess if you're going to go to the index on the rule book, I'm going to start looking up appeals.
After the Tuesday night game, I brought a rule book out called the Knotty Rules of Baseball. Knotty, not N-A-U-G-H-T-Y. And I showed it to Steve Plermer and said, don't even read that. There'll be things in there that confuse you, and it confuses me, and stuff you will never see. This might be one of those plays in the Knotty Rules of Baseball that you just don't ever see.
Well, with all this discussion, I'm assuming there is nothing we're going to find in the rule book, that this is all interpretation, and that's why Mills has been out there a couple of times. So now there are 2 outs on the scoreboard. So the ruling must be Betancourt is out because that was the call. But after talking to one another, the umpires decide there should be no double play. So Aviles is not doubled off of second base. He is allowed to advance to third. And now the official score announces that it is a put out to the shortstop. So obviously Tim McClellan was not able to tell Brad Mills. It is Rule 8.08 letter E, which clearly states this is the umpires improvising. We almost had the exact same play on consecutive balls put in play. Royals scoreless in the 5th. Mike Swanson, and he requested a meeting with Tim McClellan before the inning began. Asked one of the bat boys to grab McClellan, and for a moment I thought maybe Swanee had the magic answer to what happened in the bottom of the 5th inning, but I think more than anything he just wanted clarification from the umpires on what the actual ruling and scoring was. Now Jeff Blum is talking about it in the Astros dugout. Two to nothing Houston. Hunter Pence with a 2-out 2-run double in the 1st inning. And from that point on, Anthony LaRue has pitched very well. He has struck out 6, and he's only allowed 1 hit and 2 base runners since the 1st inning. Working very quickly, and just wearing out the strike zone.
Anxious to get back out there. He went on a dead sprint again from the Royals dugout to the mound to begin the warm-up tosses. Still feels like he's in charge in this ball game.
Berkman singled, and he, along with Keppinger, scored on the double in the 1st inning. And then LaRue struck him out in the 3rd. Did he go? No. Adrian Johnson down at 3rd base. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Split, you said the Royals were hoping for 5. They would love 6 from LaRue. He is just now coming up on 90 pitches. And the count is full on Berkman.
Didn't look good early on when we watched the first hitter. Falls behind the second hitter and say, oh, got a little bit of the yips here tonight. You don't know what you're going to get. The control has not been a problem in the Royals minor league system the last year and a half. So found the zone and doing okay with it right now. Picks up another strikeout. The second time tonight he struck out Berkman. And with his strikeouts, a lot of them have been on that straight changeup.
So 1 away, and now Carlos Lee at the plate. And the fastest moving man in the ballpark tonight, outside of Michael Bourne, is Royals Vice President of Communications, Mike Swanson. And we just had you on camera, Swanee, down there talking to Tim McClellan. Now, Split and I were doing the best that we could to try and figure out what was going on. What's the official ruling?
Well, Tim initially thought I asked him how to score the play, and he says, I have no idea how you want to score it. But he says what we did to correct the error that was made at second base was to assume that the throw was going to go through to first base, and that's where the out was called. So he gave me an honest answer on that. And he says from a scoring purpose, I guess you go with a shortstop to first base. But that's the way they made the call. We had to get some kind of confirmation of what we just saw, because I asked him how did Betancourt not end up on first base, and he told me. So.
Wow. Well, that was the thing that Split and I were kind of racking our brains about. I mean, I don't never seen a play where you assume that a fielder was going to make a play he never made.
Absolutely. You know, you talk about a ball being thrown away or anything that could happen on a play. And in this case, though, they had to correct the one error, and that's the way they did it.
Thanks, Swanee.
Okay.
Astros are scoreless in the 6th. Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. And this is Liberty Memorial and the World War I Museum here in Kansas City. This is the only American museum dedicated solely to preserving the objects, history, and personal experiences of a war whose impact still echoes today. The museum houses more than 55,000 objects. It uses interactive technology along with its world-class collection to tell the story of the war through the eyes of those who lived it. A strike to Jason Kendall. The controversy will continue on that play with Unieski Betancourt hitting a ball to short that was ruled a catch and then overruled as Myers threw it behind Kendall. Kendall almost leaned right into that, and that thing was about cheek high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jason is 1 for 2. That got Tim McClellan on the arm.
For a guy who leans into pitches and gets hit a lot, how did he not get hit by that one?
Joel came over in between innings and passed along the suggestion that Frank had. And maybe this is what Brad Mills argued the second time he went out. If Mike Aviles is that far off of second base and Blum does not catch the ball on the fly, which he didn't, but the ruling is that he didn't, the Astros could argue, well, he would have thrown to third base, not to first base. So Aviles could be out at third, and Betancourt is safe at first base.
And if you're the Astros and you're going to eliminate one base runner, you want to eliminate the guy, the lead base runner, the one at third base. They say, okay, if we're going to split it down the middle, let's take Aviles off the bases and put Betancourt on at first. I don't want the guy on at third. I'll take first.
Leadoff walk to Kendall. Let's get the answer to tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who is the only National League team? Well, that was last night's question. Tonight's question: who is the only National League team that has never come to Kauffman Stadium? And it's the Atlanta Braves. So the answer to my question was, it was team, not organization, because the Nationals haven't been here, but the Montreal Expos were.
Unfortunately, we got to go to Montreal before they moved into the States. I enjoyed that trip. Completely different part of Canada.
Great city, clean city. Maybe the nicest people that we came across at any ballpark. 1-1 to David DeJesus, 0 for 2 so far tonight with a fly out and a strikeout. That walk by Myers, by the way, is his first tonight. And the Royals' 4th base runner now in 5+ innings.
Talk about the team going to Atlanta next. Atlanta really getting great starting pitching, as well as the bullpen. And Troy Gloss, who didn't do anything early in the year, is lighting up everybody. So this will be an interesting 3-game set.
Replay returns with an all-new season. After 11 years, Gatorade reunites 2 high school rivals looking to finally settle the score. Don't miss the documentary premiere Sunday at 9 p.m. Check your local listings. You got a high school game you wish you could go back and play? Any sport?
Oh, yeah, a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't want to run up and down the floor as much as I did that night, but yeah.
A basketball game?
Yeah, if we can play a flat foot, then I'm okay. Yeah.
Think you should have won that game, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, who doesn't?
Do you remember what school it was you want to go back and play?
Yeah, it was Hinsdale.
Hinsdale.
Yeah, the Red Devils. We didn't like them at all.
And you were playing for?
Arlington High School.
Playoff game?
No. Late in the season, though.
Okay.
Big game.
Knock you out of the playoffs?
Packed house.
Did it knock you out of the playoffs?
No, we weren't that close. But we had them beat. They were good, and we weren't.
David DeJesus is 0 for 3. Myers strikes out his third. Take a look at tonight's Kevin Woodstain's legendary performance. Today is June the 17th, 2010. Back in 1987, Dick Hauser passes away at 51 years old. He has a statue out here at Kauffman Stadium. His number 10 is retired. 404 career wins, and the only manager that won a championship with the Royals.
Last game he managed was the All-Star game.
So Kendall at first, one out. Billy Butler reached on an error in the first inning and then hit his 21st double in the fourth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Kendall leaving too soon, and Myers sniffed it out. The Astros tag him out, and there are 2 down.
And I'm not sure that he sniffed it out at all. I heard 2 or 3 people, oh, there he goes, there he goes. So I think it was his teammates that bailed him out. He's freezing the ball. See, he looked away. It was his teammates that alerted to him, break off, step off the rubber. I don't think he ever saw what was going on behind him. Fortunately for Houston, the ballpark was nice and quiet at that moment. If you have a roaring crowd, you might not hear that.
2-1 to Billy. Shallow right field. Hunter Pence coming up. Makes a nice play, sliding across the line. It's a fair ball catch, and the Royals send just 3 to the plate. Verizon Wireless, Astros in front 2-0. They scored 2 in the top of the first inning on a Hunter Pence 2-run double, but then Anthony LaRue slammed the door on the Astros, striking out 7 in 6 innings, tying a career high with those 7 strikeouts. Royals have had a tough time against Brett Myers with just 3 hits. Billy Butler has his 21st double of the year. Otherwise, the Royals with a couple of singles and a walk, and that's it. So LaRue is out after 6 innings, and our Chevy call to the bullpen brings in Victor Marte.
Ryan, a quick turnaround for him. He was out there on Tuesday night. 3 solid innings. Had a hold in that ball game, struck out 1, gave up just a couple base hits. Back out there tonight.
LaRue with no chance to win his first major league game tonight, but if he had, I'm sure that would have had Mike Swanson scrambling to the record book, because the Royals would have had 3 pitchers getting their first major league win in the span of 1 week. Victor Marte started all of that on Friday in the first game of the Cincinnati series, and then Kaneko Teixeira got his first win Tuesday night against the Astros, and LaRue, that would have been 3 in 1 calendar week, with today being Thursday. Corey Sullivan was 0 for 2 against LaRue. Off the end of the bat, shallow right field. It's going to drop in front of Guillen. So Sullivan is 1 for 3. Also coming up on the next homestand, Tuesday, June the 29th, Royals and the White Sox, the first 20,000 fans will receive a retro All-Star t-shirt presented by Commerce Bank. That'll be the 4th of 7 t-shirt Tuesdays, so get your tickets now so you can add to the collection. Royals.com for tickets, or 1-800-6-ROYALS. Tonight is the deciding game of the series. It was no contest on Tuesday. The Royals winning 15-7. The Astros coming back and winning 4-2. And now Houston in front 2-0 in the top of the 7th inning. To third. Out at second base. Aviles to Butler. 4-2.
Taylor made it. Doesn't get any easier than that. A high chopper to third. Aswell picks it off with his momentum already going to second base. That makes that an easy throw. Aviles plenty of time to turn it over. Royals are kind of looking for the bunt right there. They were in tight at both first and third. I think they threw over to first base before that offering to see if the hitter was going to indicate Feliz if he'd turn around to bunt. Did not. So the Royals backed off a little bit.
And a strike to Jeff Blum. Joel hooked up with his counterpart with the Astros, who apparently was able to communicate with Jeff Blum after that crazy play as the Royals batted in the bottom of the 5th inning. And Jeff Blum told the Astros pre and post game show host that he was going to go to third base. But Tim McClellan and the rest of the umpiring crew wouldn't go for it. So they ruled, if you weren't with us, on a play that was miscalled, that Blum would have thrown to first base, even though he never did. Runner at second base, 1 out. This was ruled a catch. It wasn't a catch. And then an inning-ending double play. But after a review, the umpires decided it wasn't a catch. But the umpire said that Blum would have thrown to first base to complete the inning. He's out on a fly ball to right field. Blum is 0 for 3. Marte pitches a scoreless 7th. in the bottom of the 7th inning. Panera will take us around the league and interleague scores. Here's the only National League game with the Reds beating the Dodgers. Opportunity for Detroit in the Central Division with Minnesota falling to the Colorado Rockies. That is a fair ball. Berkman into foul ground to get it. And over to Myers for the out. Jose Guillen 0 for 3. Boston in 3rd place in the American League East, 3 games back. Tampa Bay and New York tied for 1st. And the Red Sox with a chance to pick up a game. That's good news for the Royals. Cleveland losing. They trail the Royals by 2 in the Central Division. Chicago wins. That's the team the Royals are chasing. They are now 4 games back of the White Sox. Strike 1-2, Alberto Callaspo. Texas is leading the West, trying to fight off the Angels. Texas now has won 5 in a row. Callaspo is grounded out to short, flied out to right field. Royals with 3 hits against Brett Myers in 6 1/3 innings. Broke his bat, and Hunter Pence sprinting over towards the line, and there are 2 outs. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Paul Splittorff, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis, with the rest of our Fox Sports Kansas City crew. Mike Aviles has his 2nd hit of the night. Now Fox Tracks will show us the location, brought to you by Taco Bell.
They continue to try to work him down and away. He continues to fly open on the front side, but still get to the outside corner. Did drive the ball, but got enough of it to drop it in left center field. The Royals have a 2-out base runner.
And now some power at the plate, and Wilson Betemit 0 for 2 so far. Oh and 1. A week ago tonight, he hit 2 home runs in Minnesota, hitting home runs from both sides of the plate. And this one here was in the top of the 9th inning. And that looked like just an insurance home run to give Joakim Soria some cushion for the bottom of the 9th. And the Royals ended up needing that home run because a 3-run lead became a 2-run lead as Minnesota scored a pair. And the Royals hung on for a 9-8 win.
Brandon talking about his position on the ball club, where he might go 5 or 6 or maybe a full week without playing in a ball game. It's always a veteran player who's in that position. It's never a young guy that needs to go out and play on a regular basis. He had somebody early in his career talk to him about how to stay ready, and Julio Franco. Franco was in that position at the time. So you spend time with somebody, you learn about the game and how you might be able to help your team later on. But it's never a young guy that is put in that position. I think it's Keelan Kahui earlier this year. Ned Yo says it just bothered me to see him sit on the bench when he needs to go out and play every day. We like him. We think he has a future in our club. Now, not at first base. I mean, they might have to do something there, but it's never a young guy sitting on the bench. It's always a guy who's been around a little bit.
Off the end of the bat, we'll see what kind of a fielder Myers is. Well, he doesn't make the play with his bare hand, and the tying run is at first base with 2 outs.
Brandon sees the season this angle, but I think he had a little more time to make this play. He could have gone down with the glove hand or both hands to make it, but because of the angle, he's throwing straight towards third base. He feels like he takes himself out of the play, and that's his only opportunity to try to do it with the bare hand. But if you look at it from up top, the angle we have, he has the best chance to make the play. I think he had time to field it with both hands and make a strong play first. Let's take a look at it again. Betemit doesn't get a big jump out of the box. he's reaching down and away for that ball. Still think he could have made the play, trying to do it two hands. That's a tough play to try to make coming off the mound.
Well, and yelling at himself, and I don't think he was yelling at himself because he didn't make the play with his bare hand. I mean, if that's Pasetnik running up the line, he just realizes I didn't have a play. Probably yelling at himself because of what you suggested.
Well, he's a really intense guy. I mean, a big-time competitor, and he's harder on himself than he is anybody else. So we talked about him being kind of a hyper individual that has trouble early in ball games. And if he gets to this point in the game, he probably has it on cruise control. So far, he has.
Betancourt pulls the slider over to third base coach Eddie Rodriguez. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell the tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Kansas City Royals. You'll find great seats and great service at StubHub.com. Tried for that late movement over the outside and missed. 1-2 to Betancourt, 0 for 2. And it was his at-bat in the fifth inning that led to that wild play where really the final result was nothing. The Royals didn't score. There was a lot of discussion over a ball hit to short. First ruled a catch on the fly, then ruled a ground ball. And the umpires then deciding what Mike Aviles would have done if second base umpire Mike Everett didn't call it a catch. Betancourt pulls it through the left side. Aviles is going to be waved home, and Sullivan's throw will be cut off. It's a 2-1 game.
Ryan once again receives the ball club. Start a rally with 2 outs and nobody on base. And all of a sudden you come up with 3 consecutive base hits. Aviles, the infield hit by Betancourt. Betancourt with a solid base hit through the hole on the left side and into left field. Eddie Rodriguez, the third base coach, really aggressive because the left fielder gets the ball just as Aviles is getting to the bag that the Royals desperately needed to get on the board.
And now Pasetnik way out in front. 2 ground balls to second base and a pop up to short for Pasetnik. Bob McClure calling down to the bullpen. Blake Wood for sure would come on if the Royals take the lead here in the 8th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last night we saw Blake Wood needing some work, coming in with the Royals down by 2 in the 8th. Blake Wood still the only one throwing out there. 2 balls and 1 strike on Pasetnik.
Royals bullpen really in better shape tonight because of what LaRue gave them than they have been in either one of the first 2 games of the series.
Reaching out over the plate and fouling it away. Scott Pasetnik now at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Game 2 of the 2005 World Series. Astros at Chicago. Bottom of the 9th inning. Tie game. 1 out, nobody on. Scott Pasetnik breaks everyone's heart in Houston and all throughout Texas with a walk-off home run. Now he drills it into deep right field. Back goes Pence. Deja vu. Not quite the World Series, and not quite a walk-off home run, but another heartbreaking home run delivered by Pasetnik against the Astros.
You don't see him turn on the ball very often, but he turned on that one. Myers gives up his 7th of the year, and it's a big one. They tried to come inside with the fastball. The ball backed up a little bit on the inner half of the plate. But Sednick able to turn on it and buried it to the back of the bullpen.
So with 2 outs and nobody on, the Royals have scored 4. And now 3 balls, no strikes to Jason Kendall. Brett Myers allowing that home run. He had gone 43 1/3 innings without allowing a home run. And the home run he gives up is a 3-run home run, with the Royals going in front in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Look back to the Royals' 5th inning in Game 1 of the series. Scored 5 times, nobody on, and 2 out when it started.
Now Myers walks his second. All of a sudden the lights are starting to flicker, and Brad Mills is out. And he's going to point down to the bullpen. Myers is not happy about it. More upset, I'm sure, about the Posednik home run, but former Royal Tim Burdick will come on to face David DeJesus, and the Chevy call to the bullpen. The Royals have scored all 4 of their runs with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Through 6 innings on only 3 hits, and they come up with 4 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th to take a 2-run lead. Time for tonight's Radio Shack What Do You Know? Remember Robinson Tejeda's beginning to this season, giving up 12 earned runs in his first 8 1/3 innings. Now just 2 earned runs in his last 24. So his ERA, which began at 12.96, has improved to 3.90.
He had a lot of company early in the year with that. He's got a lot of company right now, guys that are pitching well out of the pen.
Scott Posednik saying, yeah, you think that was a big hit tonight against the Astros. Let me tell you about Game 2 of the 2005 World Series, bottom of the 9th inning.
Former Royal Tim Burdick made his big league debut with the Royals some 12 years ago. Comes on for the 2nd time in this series, 21st time on the year.
12 years ago?
1998. But he played 3 years, 98, 99, and 2000.
I mean, I know it was a while ago, but 12 years ago? Jeez.
Well, you covered him the other night, independent league. I mean, he has bounced around a lot since then. Faced 3 batters here the other night. He got a couple strikeouts in the process.
It is one of those Hollywood-like stories, getting released after having Tommy John surgery in 2001, fighting his way back, going through the independent leagues. His wife, Heather, who was pregnant, was working 2 jobs to help make ends meet so that Tim could hang on to his dream, and played with 2 different independent teams in 2003. And back in the big leagues. Into center field, Michael Bourne is there. David DeJesus is 0 for 4. But the Royals score 4 with 2 outs. Unievsky Betancourt drives in 1. And Scott Pasetnik, the Astro killer, it's a 3-run home run. On bottom of the 7th inning, Royals come up with 4. They get 3 on the Chevrolet play of the game. Scott Pasetnik hammering his 3rd home run of the year into the Royals bullpen. Right after Unievsky Betancourt drove in the Royals' 1st run. Blake Wood will come on for the 8th inning with Kevin Cash, Michael Bourne, and Jeff Keppinger coming to the plate. And Blake Wood worked the 8th inning last night, faced 3, retired 3 with a strikeout.
He only used 10 pitches in the ballgame, so he's good to go again tonight.
Cash is walked, and he is singled. And now thinking about laying one down with Cayaspo playing in shallow left field. 1 ball, 1 strike.
We're talking about Kevin Cash, was not drafted but signed. He was a non-roster player in spring training, so that's kind of been the story of his career. Fighting his way up off the deck continuously. In fact, they had their top prospect as their opening day catcher. Tried to hand him the job in spring training. Tried to hand him the job a couple of years ago. Back in the minor leagues in mid-May. Some more time for Cash to be in there. Again, not drafted, non-roster in spring training. Going to have a hard time making the ball club. And here he is in there tonight.
Three balls, 2 strikes. The Royals have had 2 innings in this series where they have scored runs after 2 outs and nobody on. And in those 2 innings, they have scored a combined 11 runs. It's like a Rocky movie. You know, down to a knee on a 9 count with Adrian yelling Rocky in the background. He's just trying to hang on, and next thing you know, you won. Or in this case, the Royals coming up with a big inning with 2 outs and nobody on. Cash is out, 1 away in the 8th inning.
Royals feel pretty comfortable the way that bullpen is lined up now in the late innings. I'm not sure they got their 7th inning guy figured out, 9 in and 9 out, but they know who the 8th inning guy is. We've known for several years who goes in the 9th.
Trying to lay down a bunt. Michael Bourne has flied out, struck out. His fly out was the best defensive play of the game tonight. David DeJesus showing Michael Bourne his range in center field, making a running grab in deepest left center. Betancourt's going to have to hurry, and got him by a couple of steps. Well, he won't get his first major league win tonight, but Anthony LaRue pitched very well, and we'll give him tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment.
Really strong in the middle innings. Big strikeout night for him, equaling his career high. Good movement on all his pitches. Jason Kendall talked to you about how he wanted to handle a new guy. Really nothing fancy about him. Just get him to work quick and make sure he's in the strike zone. Both of them worked well here tonight.
Jason was saying that, you know, with a young pitcher, and Anthony LaRue has been around, but he doesn't have a lot of major league experience. He prefers if they work fast. Don't think. Just trust me, work fast. Don't get your mind too wrapped up with who the hitter is and what the situation is. Just pick up the sign, throw the ball. Blake Wood, bases 3, retires 3.
White and I will be wrapping it up on Boulevard Royals Live. We will talk about more 2-out runs. Anthony LaRue's night, highlights, Ned Yost, and Frank is going to explain exactly what happened on that umpire's call. He's got it all figured out. Well, maybe not, but we're going to talk about it anyway, guys.
Well, Lopez, the third pitcher of the night for the Astros, comes on for the 22nd time this year. All of his outings have been in relief, so impressive 3-0 record for him. Has 3 holds, a little better than 4-point earned run average. How about that strikeout to walk ratio? Just 3 walks given up in 24 innings worked so far. Lopez out of Nicaragua. Had not been many major league pitchers from Nicaragua. Dennis Martinez would be the one I'd think of first, a 20-game winner. And the current pitcher from there would be Vicente Padilla.
Nice work, Split.
How about that?
Wow.
Can we find Nicaragua on the globe?
It's south of here, a little bit to the west.
Okay.
Billy 1 out of 3 with a double in the 4th inning. Tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. We asked you who's the Royals representative this year in the All-Star game if it was decided today. Billy ran away with it, and then David was in front, and now Billy wins 53-47.
Billy's 1 for 3 tonight. David's 0 for 4, so there's your winner.
Kevin Shank says to me, and by the way, Dewey defeats Truman. Lined into center field, and Michael Bourne's range doesn't include that. Second double of the game, 22nd of the year for Billy.
This ball is hit right on the button. Classic Billy Butler swing on a ball where he stays inside of it. Thigh high, middle. Classic look from him. This ball even had a little tailing action as he got out deep into the outfield. Short hops the wall. He blisters it by the speedster. He's got a stand-up double. The second double of the game.
And now Jose Guillen with another chance to extend his hitting streak. He is at 11. Tonight he has flied to right, grounded to short, grounded out to first. In the first 6 innings, the Royals with no runs, 3 hits. And now in the last 2 innings, the Royals with 4 runs on 5 hits. With 2 outs and nobody on in the 7th inning, Mike Aviles singled. Wilson Betemit reached on the infield single. Yunieski Betancourt singled in Aviles, and Scott Posednik hit a 3-run home run. Guillen going to the right side. He gets Billy Butler over to third. No RBI. But a very unselfish approach there. Guillen, you could tell, was at least trying to get the runner over to third base. And he ends up with a single.
That's an awesome at bat right there for Guillen. He's going against a guy with an outstanding sinker, a big time ground ball pitcher. So figure the ball's going to be down. You're probably going to have to hit it on the ground, or you want to hit it to the right side. Don't even think about driving that run in. Right side of the infield, pretty much wide open. So Guillen goes that way, does hit the ball on the ground, gets it into right field. Now the Royals have runners in the corners. There's still nobody out.
So Guillen has hit in 12 straight. And now Alberto Callaspo. When we were in Cincinnati, I talked to Orlando Cabrera about how he tries to convince younger players to take a more team approach. And he said he tries to convince young guys, you know, you're probably only going to be asked 20, 30, maybe 40 times all year to give up an at-bat. Line back to the pitcher, no double play. So tough luck for Callaspo, and he is 0 for 4. And now Mike Aviles coming up, and just to finish the thought, Orlando Cabrera was saying, you know, if you're playing every day, you're going to get 500-600 at-bats. You can give yourself up 20 to 40 times a year, and every now and then when you give yourself up, you're going to get a hit. And that's what happened to Jose Guillen. His intent was to play team baseball. He was willing to give himself up, but the ground ball gets through, and in the end, he doesn't give himself up.
And Ryan, wouldn't you say if there was one guy on the team that might be asked to give himself up a little bit more than that, would be the number 2 hitter in the lineup? If you've got the right kind of leadoff guy out there who's going to get on base a lot, now you got to take some balls and give him an opportunity to steal and then still hit the ball to the right side. He might be the guy to get more than that.
The Astros will not turn the double play, and the Royals get an insurance run as Billy comes down from third. Aviles will pick up his 11th RBI, and the Royals have a 3-run lead.
Really a tough opportunity to turn 2 right there by the second baseman. Keppinger making a nice play. When he leaves his feet, really no way to get this thing done with a guy who can get down the line at all. So the Royals get an important insurance run here in the inning. And I still think that Guillen at bat is every bit as important, if not more important, than Billy Butler's or Aviles, who got the RBI.
So again, extends his hitting streak to 12 games. Mike Aviles has had a good night, 2 hits and now an RBI. The Royals have scored all 5 of their runs in the last 2 innings. Wilson Betemit, he also had a key hit in that 4-run 7th inning. It was an infield single in a play that Brett Myers was not able to field with his bare hand, but Split thought he had more time than he thought he had and maybe could have made the play if he used his glove. Two balls, no strikes. Three balls and no strikes on Wilson Betemit.
Lopez trying to get that sinker to me is missing a little bit low. You might want to give your guys a green light here. Got everything to gain, nothing to lose. Maybe the sinker ball elevates one for you.
3-1. Center field. Back goes Bourne, and he has a play. And that's the 8th inning. The Royals add a run, and Joakim Soria has a 3-run lead to the 9th inning. Soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Chevrolet, come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. A little over 16,000 watching tonight. Hoping the Royals can put together another come-from-behind victory, and Joakim Soria going for his 16th save.
And like Blake Wood, who came in to work the 8th inning, Soria goes on back-to-back nights. He worked the 9th here last night, picked up a couple strikeouts in the process. Going to have to wade through right down Main Street of the order of the Houston Astros here in the 9th.
No balls, 2 strikes. Lance Berkman singled and scored back in the 1st inning on Hunter Pence 2-run double. And the Astros have not scored since. They only have 2 hits and 3 base runners since getting 2 in the 1st inning. Astros just 2 runs, 4 hits. Did he go? No. Adrian And Johnson at third base. 1 and 2 to Berkman. Two and 2.
Berkman, the kind of hitter you got to get the ball on the plate for him. He has good knowledge of the strike zone. The play looks like a good leadoff hitter would. See if he can get a free pass. Control has never been a problem for Soria from the time he got to the big leagues with his ball club.
Curveball is whacked into center field for a leadoff hit. So Berkman, the only Astro with more than one hit tonight.
It's not been a good road trip for him, but it has been a good final game. That slow curveball, the outer part, down pretty well in the zone. A lot of guys roll over the top of that one, hit a weak little ground ball to second baseman, but Berkman, a solid base hit to center.
Carlos Lee is 0 for 3. A strikeout, a ground out, and a fly out. And Lee just 2 out of 10 in the series. Right center field, slicing away from DeJesus and in to Jose Guillen. DeJesus sliding to back him up. 1 away.
This ball is slicing back towards Guillen, with the right-handed hitter hitting that ball has slicing action on, so that's away from the center fielder. Normally he'd take charge on that ball, but Guillen able to make the play, move to his right pretty well. Mentioned it early in ball game that Ned Yost comfortable with leaving him out there in the late innings. The Royals had the lead, did not go to Mitch Meyer, kept Guillen in right field. He's been kind of true to his word in that regard, hasn't he? Standing with guys until you show me something that you can't do it.
Yeah. 2-0 on Hunter Pence. He had a 2-out, 2-run double in the first inning. Of the 7 combined runs tonight, 6 have come with 2 outs. Two and 1. Soria's last 2 saves were not without drama. Thursday night in Minnesota had a 3-run lead, and Minnesota scored 2 in the 9th inning, and the final out was a line out to right field with the tying and go-ahead runs on base. 3 balls, 1 strike, and then his next save was the very next night, Friday night in Cincinnati, a 1-run game, runners at first and third, and the final out was a line drive off the bat of Scott Rowland to left field.
You may have to dig into the Blue Book of Knowledge, but 2 years ago, how many 1, 2, 3 innings did he have?
I'll look it up. Pence goes through the right side, and now all of a sudden the Astros have the tying run coming to the plate. So Houston with 6 hits, and 4 of those coming from Berkman and Pence.
He was so automatic in 2008, you just assumed a 1, 2, 3 inning. He has not scared the Royals fans very often.
Corey Sullivan 1 out of 3, singled his last time up. That was against Victor Marte. And Soria has fallen behind the last 2 hitters. Well, this is a sad day in the history of the Big Blue Book of Knowledge. It's not in there.
Really?
Yeah. Plenty of other little interesting facts, but not that one.
I'll bet you have it in there before the plane lands in Atlanta tonight. I don't know how you get it done, but you will.
Now 2 balls, no strikes on Sullivan.
I thought it was something like 20 innings. that he went 1, 2, 3. I mean, just no problem at all.
Well, that probably, we can look it up in the Royals media guide, but that season you're talking about has to be 2008 when he had a 1.6 ERA, and that was the year that Soria had more saves than hits allowed in the season. Think about that. He had 42 saves and allowed 39 hits.
That's the first time anybody's stumped the blue book, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And you're not feeling good about it either.
I'm okay. I feel bad for the book.
It's a new book.
The book's tail is kind of dragging between his legs right now, but he had a good run. Now it's 3 balls, no strikes on Sullivan. So Soria not his typical sharp self in his last 3 save opportunities. Three and 1 on Sullivan. Full count. Well, this will help the Big Blue Book of Knowledge. It is also not in the Royals media guide. That's a bit of a relief. That's an ego boost. Berkman singled to lead off the inning with 1 out. Hunter Pence singled. And now 3 and 2 with 1 out to Corey Sullivan. And we'll do it again.
The thing I remember about that stat, it was not anything we talked about at any time in 2008. It was something that was, I guess, researcher dug up over the winter, because when 2009 opened, you went with it. It was like, wow, I knew he did well, but I had no idea that he did that well.
Got it. Power changeup. 2 down.
One of the great things about Soria is he does not panic. He rolls behind 3 and 0. Hey, in your mind, you know you can throw a strike anytime you want to. It's just a question of what are you going to use to get it in the zone. And to finish the guy off with the power change shows you a lot of confidence in everything you have.
You know, I was thinking the same thing, Split. I mean, you talk about guts. I mean, a situation like this, he hasn't thrown that pitch once tonight. He doesn't have his best control, and he goes with it on 3 and 2. If he misses, the bases are loaded with 1 out. And if he's asked about that following the game tonight, I assume he will do what he normally does. He'll just shrug his shoulders and say, well, that's the pitch I wanted to throw. It's a big deal.
Seemed like a good idea at the time. And it was. I didn't notice if Kendall called it or if he shook off to get to that. Sometimes the pitcher doesn't even shake off the catcher. He just, as they say, he's looked too long. Just staring at him, don't nod, and don't start into your windup.
Well, maybe that's what that conversation was all about. Hey, when this game's over and the reporters gather around your locker, would you tell them that that was my idea to go with that pitch? Thank you. And he goes with a slider outside, ball 1 on Pedro Feliz, who is 0 for 3.
But you don't hear the talk anymore about him possibly being a starter. He has been so good as a closer, but that was one of the reasons he had 4 different pitches. He could throw it at any time and get them all over the plate.
Back with a breaking ball, and it's 1 and 1.
Tonight's starter, Brett Myers, was an opening day starter for Philadelphia a couple of years. They moved him to the bullpen because they didn't have anybody else, and he had 21 saves. So, yeah, it's happened before. But I think Soria's not going to be the closer for a long time.
2 balls, 1 strike. Just trying to continue what the bullpen started 5 games ago in Cincinnati. The Royals bullpen right now in the last 6 games have allowed 2 earned runs in 23 innings. Got him to go out of the strike zone, and it's 2-2.
Royals want to make sure that that hitter is the most important man on the field right now. Look how deep that outfield is. Any ball hit out there, they want to make sure that they keep it in front of them. That runner at second base is important. Runner at first base isn't all that important. The guy at the plate, it's a big deal.
Back with the power change. This one's in the dirt, and now it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. So the added advantage for the Astros with Berkman at second base, Pence at first. They'll be running on this 3-2 pitch. Shallow right field. Split told you the outfield was deep, so Vilas has to go way out, and Guillen makes the play to end the game. As you said, Split, Ned Yost leaves him in there in the 9th inning, and he ends up making a big play to end the game.
And if Vilas was looking over his shoulder trying to find him, he knew he was getting deep into the outfield and wondered where the right fielder was. Soria has got to be concerned about this because there's all kind of room down that right field line.
That's about as much emotion as you're going to see from Joakim Soria. So the Royals win the series, and even though it's just 3 games, the Royals have their first winning homestand, 2-1, and the Royals